going on, everyone? It's the All Gaming Blog here, playing some Black Ops 2 Zombies. Now, I know I've said that I would done the Black Ops 2 Zombies weekend for freaking weeks now, but I finally got around to do it. Mostly because I'm actually having more fun playing zombies than multiplayer. I feel like the zombies engine is not as broken as the multiplayer one is at the moment, so I'm gonna do a lot more zombie videos than multiplayer. But anyways, moving on to the topic I want to talk about in this video, which is something that I've been avoiding, and I honestly didn't want to make a video about it, but I feel like I should because this is everywhere and it's starting to annoy me. Which is gun control, and do violent video games cause violence or increased aggression in the audience or on the gamers. Now, when I say this, I mean, should we blame video games for the shootings that have been happening in the United States? And not just in the United States, but the shootings that are happening in other places, although we hear in the United States news a lot more. Absolutely not. And I can say this with certainty, that we should not blame video games for it. First of all, there is absolutely no proof, no scientific evidence at the moment that can say that violence in video games or gore in video games will cause the player or the gamers to be more violent and aggressive and wanting to grab real guns and shoot people. That being said, anything that comes after that is just excuses to ignore a bigger problem. Now, what happens with what usually happens is you have a person, let's say a person, could be a kid, could be an adult, young adult, elder, whatever. You have a person, right, that has some sort of mental issues, some sort of mental incapable. I'm not gonna say crazy, because you know it's not exactly crazy, but whatever, it's next to it. Add a person that's mentally unstable with firepower, with weapon. It's like joining a matchstick, a lit matchstick with gasoline. You know, obviously it's gonna cause fire, it's gonna, you know, erode. Is it because the video games that you're playing? Is it because the movies that you're watching? Is it because that the lyrics in the music that you're listening to? No, absolutely not. They're gonna do what you're gonna do regardless of what their surroundings. Of course, this has its limitations. Of course, there are things that can be done. One of the bigger things is why do they do this? Well, firstly, because they are not, they have mental issues, whatever sort of mental issues. Second of all, is I feel or I believe that they do this mostly because they feel that they don't get enough attention. It's easy for a parent to grab a video game and let their kid play the video game and give him a controller and a console and an iPhone 5 and whatever, you know, a PSP or a Game Boy or whatever. It's easy for a parent to give them that, to have their kid, their child, to shut up, than to pay attention to the kid. It can get involved with the child, and then when the kid doesn't turn out the way they want, and when the kid does certain actions, then they start, you know, they start thinking that, oh, maybe it was because of the game that I gave him that made him be this way. Maybe it's because of what I let him watch, what I let him do, that makes these actions to happen. It's not because the parent didn't pay attention to the child and neglected the child and would rather give the child a violent video game which is clearly not age appropriate, or let him watch a horror film that's clearly not age appropriate, than to pay attention to that child, than to, you know, try to get involved with said child. And that's why we have these, we have certain laws. You know, we have the rating systems. We have I would say gun control. We have gun control, the country I'm living in, thank God, and we also have free health care, free mental health care to everyone, not just poor people or rich people. It's everyone. We have free mental health care. We have gun control, and we also have a video game rating system. I'm not saying there's not crazy people. Again, I say crazy people as a very loose term. I'm saying mentally ill people, or if we had guns that even without having guns legal for everyone to own, There's still a lot of guns around, of course. There is when you make something illegal, that's when people will want it more. Make smoking weed illegal, that's where more people are gonna use drugs. Make having pit bulls being illegal, that's when people that own pit bulls are gonna start having them more. Doesn't mean that's gonna stop at all, but it's harder for a person to get that weapon, to get that fuel that drives them to do these massacres, to do crazy and really, really stupid things. Now, while this is a part of a problem, it doesn't mean that it's solely part of a problem. Now, why do parents, why do people, even though there's absolutely no evidence, blame video games for this increase of massacres, of shootings that is happening in the United States, even though there's no evidence? And when I say this, I say it because there's been a recent survey which stated that 75% of the 2,000 people that did the survey on blame violent video games for their kids' behavior, or blame violent video games for these massacres, for the shooting, for the increase in violence, increase in aggressiveness. Even though there's absolutely no proof, scientific proof whatsoever that to you know, make people believe in this. I think they believe in this because it's what the government, it's what companies want them to believe, because it's easier to avoid a problem than to head straight on and to resolve it, to actually take a look at what the problem is and to resolve it. It's much easier for people to blame violent video games for their problems than it is to have free medical healthcare, free mental health care. It's a lot easier to blame video games than to ban weapons, because believe it or not, weapons in the United States generate more revenue than video games, by a lot actually. It's a lot easier to just, it would spend less money and be just easier to ban video games, violent video games, than it would be to give them free, or not even if it's not free, to just give them mental health care and better gun regulations. Now, let's come to another part of where I come personally. I've always grown up with video games, and I've always grown up with weapons. My grandfather, my father, they all have weapons, mostly for hunting, or even just for target shooting. My dad has a great aim. He really does. He can really shoot like a weapon really, really good. I've grown up with weapons and video games, not necessarily violent video games, because times change and violence is obviously in video games has always changed a lot. There's a lot more realism today in violence video games than, let's say, 10-20 years ago, where the most violent video game that I owned at the time was Mortal Kombat 3, whereas you had blood every time you punched or kicked a little carrot in the face, and the blood was just a little bit red pixels, basically. Obviously, at the time, red pixels, that was like a lot, you know. Was compared to today's standards, it's nothing. But back in the day, was you know, it was a lot. It was something that today is a lot different. Now we have a lot more realism in video games today, and so things change a lot, but it's the principles, the basic is in there. Not at any way, shape or form, or at any point in my life did I ever picked up a weapon with the intention to hurt anybody. Even though I was playing violent video games, even though the video game that I played I had the same weapon that I was holding at the time, which I don't even know what weapon it was. I think it was a some sort of rifle, and I never, you know, I never had the intention to do anything. Why? Because I am mentally sane. You know, I can distinguish the reality from a video game. So, to me, it's really not, you know, not an issue with that. But like I said before, it's easier to just give kids a video game to shut them up than to actually pay attention to them. Now, as a form of entertainment, video games are great. You know, I play video games mostly to have fun. If I don't have fun whilst I'm playing a video game, then I just put it down and I won't play it again. But if I'm having fun, and of course, you know, I'm gonna play it. I'm having fun, so I'm gonna continue on having fun. Now, obviously, you can also have fun with weapons. If you know what you're doing, again, in moderation, you know what you're doing. Well, there's two things here. First of all, there is an age rating in video games at the moment. Video games like Call of Duty, for example, are for people aged 17 or older. So if you're an 18-year-old, you can buy the game, you can play the game, fine. If you're an underage kid, most shops will just tell you, no, you know, you're not. I can't give you this game, or I cannot buy you this game without your parent or a guardian with you at the time. So that's what happens right now. So if kids are playing, or younger kids are playing these violent video games, or playing these video games that they weren't made for their age, it's the parents that buy them the video games. There is no other really real way other than ordering them online. I guess they won't really ask you, but then again, you have to have a credit card, an account, whatever. So it's again, you need to be an adult, or at least someone that has all access to all that, to their parents' account details or whatever. Bottom line is, and this video is coming to an end now. In my opinion, violent video games do not make violent people. It's just an excuse and an avoidance of a real problem that people use in order to avoid a bigger issue. Anyways, I hope you liked this commentary. It was really long, and hope you enjoyed this video as well. And thanks for watching, though. Leave me your opinions in the comment section below.